Hello, everyone. I think everyone has joined us. So please let me know if I'm loud and clear to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. So all the students have joined us. So let me know that the screen is visible to you all, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, today the topic that we are having a free session on would be forest plot and the importance of it. But before moving towards the topic, I want to give you an overview to our MRCOG 1 course because we have been receiving a lot of requests on that. So this is our MRCOG 1 course for January 25 students. As you can see, we have a top-notch faculty, including Dr. Mohammed Helmi and Dr. Desiree. These both are the most senior mentors and their way of teaching is excellent. So they will be teaching you for this course and they will be helping you to cover up everything. Now let's talk about the features of the course. First feature would be the live session. So basically live sessions are all the detailed lectures on all the modules, and after session you will be getting the recording of the session. Apart from the live session, you will also be getting the PDFs of all the subjects. After the live sessions, you will have topic test on that particular subject. So you can check your knowledge and you can check your understanding level. Apart from the topic test, you will also be getting the final mock exams, which will make your preparation top-notch. Apart from the mock exams and the study material, you will have a separate study room where you can ask any questions from your respectable mentors at any point of time. So you will also be getting the mentorship for next 6 months. Apart from that, we will have a dedicated biostatistics workshop for you because you all know that biostatistics is a bit difficult subject. So we have designed this workshop in a way that for 5 days. Hello, can you please mute your mic? Dr. Hira, can you please mute your mic? Thank you so much. Okay, so I was saying that biostatistics workshop is a 5 days workshop in which you will have a complete understanding of the subject. So these are all the features which will help you cover up everything. Also, we are having this early bird discount on the course. So let me just tell you quickly about the phases of the course. First one is the pre-course phase. It's a 3-week phase that we are going to start from 5th of July. In this phase, basically, we will give you all the study material and you will do self-study with the mentors on a particular scheduled topic. The second phase would be the live session phase. In that phase, basically, we will cover up all the modules in very much detail. You will be getting the recordings of the modules, the PDFs of all the modules. In a study room, you will be daily practicing the subjects. And at the end, you will have the biostatistics workshop for your ease. The third and the final phase would be the revision phase. In this phase, basically, you will practice the questions, the important exam-like questions, the booster mocks, and you will get the tips and tricks on how you can clear this exam. So if you're doing the pre-course phase, the live session phase, and the revision phase, it will definitely be helping you to clear your exam easily. So over the past 7 years, we have been working in this field, and we have a success rate of around 96 to 98%. So with all the good, we'd like to welcome you in our January 25 batch. And for all of you, we have a special discount of 40%, which makes the course for $299 instead of $499. So you can get the good discount. You just have to click the number in the chat box and you can get your discount from there. Thank you, everyone. Now you can attend the session. Dr. Desiree.
Yes, Fatima, I'm here. Thank you for that detailed discussion of the course. Let me just share my screen.
Sure, Dr. Desiree, you can.
Thank you. So guys, if you have any questions regarding the course or the Biostat workshop, you can ask us at the end of the webinar. We have a very interesting and short webinar, okay, about forest plot. As Fatima has mentioned, we have a huge discount for the courses. And for the Biostat workshop, it's a standalone course. But those who will enroll in our regular and progressive course, it is included in your in the course, okay? But those who don't want or who is not interested, you can join Biostat workshop alone, okay, separately. Okay, so we will start now. Let me share my screen. So our topic for today is forest plot made easy. Actually, we have a forest plot webinar in our YouTube channel. It contains all the details about forest plot, but it's a 1-hour lecture, so it's a little bit complicated. So I decided to make it more easier for part 1, part 2, and part 3 students. This is for part 2, Dr. Nesreen. What is this? What do you mean? Mock test available, Dr. Yakabu, yes. Webinar for part 2. This is for part 2. As you may know, the syllabus for biostatistics is the same for part 2 and part 1. Actually, both questions from the forest plot came out in the recent MRCOG 1 and MRCOG exam, MRCOG 2 exam. So if you hear webinars on biostatistics, you grab it, whether you're taking part 1 or part 2, or also in the EBCOG exam, biostatistics also came out. So the syllabus for biostatistics for all postgraduate courses are the same. It's fixed. And it doesn't depend on the guideline, which what I mean is, if a new recent guideline comes out, just like in your, for example, in your CTG, there's a recent guideline on how to interpret the CTG. Of course, everything changes from the previous SBA, the previous EMQ. But for biostatistics, since it is mathematics and mathematics is fixed, it never change, okay? And it's not affected by recent guidelines, okay? So this webinar is not only for part 1. Part 1 is the one who is sponsoring this webinar, but this is also valuable for part 2 students and part 3 students. The same, okay? So let's start. So forest plot, you all know me, I'm Dr. Desiree, okay? I'm a mentor in part 1 and EBCOG. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so everyone, I'm sure everyone knows what is a forest plot, or no? Session on maternal medicine, Nasreen? Maybe we'll ask the team, the MRCOG 2 chapter on session. Maybe it's a good suggestion because we're always looking for a topic on what webinar to do. So maybe we'll do session on maternal medicine. I will relay your request to the part 2 team, Dr. Muhammad Hassan, who is the head of the department, to do a webinar on maternal medicine, okay? Now let's proceed. So are you aware of this logo? This is the Cochrane database. And if you will see, the Cochrane collaboration is the one who incorporates forest plot on their logo. So what you can see here is C. Let me change my pointer. So you can see here, C, this is Cochrane, and this is collaboration. And in the middle is a forest plot. This is the very first forest plot, which was done in 1972, okay, the very first randomized controlled trial. And the title is the prophylactic prenatal steroid, corticosteroid, to prevent neonatal morbidity. So this is the forest plot logo in the Cochrane database. So what is a forest plot? You all know that the highest level of evidence in a level of evidence pyramid is a meta-analysis, right? I'm sure you know. Second is the systematic analysis. So a forest plot, why it was made superior than a systematic review, because compared to the systematic review, a meta-analysis has one graphical representation, which is a forest plot. A forest plot is also called a blobogram. By definition, when you say forest, it's like a conglomeration of lines or a conglomeration of trees. So when you say forest of trees, that means too many trees, okay? A lot of trees standing vertical. So when you say forest of lines, that is forest plot. It is where the name was taken from. So before you understand interpreting a forest plot, you have to know the anatomy of a forest plot. So let me tell you one by one. So in a forest plot, you will see a solid vertical line, okay? This solid vertical line is your line of no effect, okay? It's a line of no effect. And then a forest plot is always having two sides, okay? So there's the one side and this is the other side. So this could be it could be a placebo, and this could be intervention. And you can have two interventions, okay? Either, for example, you're testing metformin, or for example, you're testing clomiphene and you're testing letrozole on infertility. You put it on the other side. So a meta-analysis actually analyzes several studies that answers the same question. For example, how effective is clomiphene versus letrozole in inducing ovulation? So you can gather all those via the internet or Google. You gather all those studies done by several authors, and then do a meta-analysis on that. Okay, so this is one side, line of no effect, placebo, intervention, or it could be two intervention, like what I've said, clomiphene and letrozole. And you will always see a number here. Okay, the number will always be 1 or 0. Okay, remember that, 1 or 0. Okay, it is 1 when the author uses ARR, okay, or relative risk reduction or absolute risk reduction, or 0, it's 0 if it is ARR or RRR. I interchange it. And it is 1 if it is odds ratio or risk ratio or relative risk. So this is 0, or this is odds ratio and risk ratio or relative risk. So remember, you will only see 0 or 1. You will never see 2, 3, 4. If you see 2, 3, 4 below the line of no effect, then that is not the line of no effect. Okay, so it will always be 0 or 1. Okay, and what we'll see, what are the other things that you will see in a forest plot? You will see here names, okay? For example, okay, for example, you will see here Anna or Annalyn. Okay, like 2000. This is author of one study. You will see here Desiree, 2004. You will see here Fatima, like 2010. You will see here Helmi, like 2008 or 2008. Okay, so the names that you see on the left side of a forest plot are individual studies, okay? It could either be arranged chronologically or alphabetically. Here, I purposely arranged it chronologically, alphabetically, okay? Because this one is ahead of this, okay? So it could either be chronologically or alphabetically arranged, okay? And then what else you will see? You will see squares. These are individual studies. Remember, the squares are individual studies, okay? And you will see diamond. We will go to it one by one. And in the square, you will see horizontal lines, okay? These are confidence interval, okay? And also in the diamond, you will see the horizontal lines are inside, okay? I will explain that later on. So this is the only thing that you will see in the forest plot. Of course, it might get a bit too complicated, but if we have several forest plots being analyzed, okay? So this one is an example of a forest plot that was taken, I took it in the internet. So you will see here how many studies. You see 4 studies, and then this is the summary. And you can see this is a solid line of no effect, and you see here 1. Okay, so by this, you will understand that the author used odds ratio or relative risk or risk ratio. Okay, so here, this is a very famous forest plot. When you search forest plot in Google, these always appear, okay? So let's analyze it one by one. So you can see here, these are the authors of the individual study. You can see Smith, Jones, Smith, and this is arranged not alphabetically, it was arranged chronologically, 1991, 93, 99, 2004, and 2009. And the diamond is always a summary of measure. Okay, you can see here 2 lines, 2 vertical lines. So I would like to ask you all, which one is the line of no effect? Is it the solid black line or is it the dotted blue line? You can open your microphone or you can write in the chat box. Go ahead. Make you. Yes. Yes. Who's this?
A black line.
Right, Dr. Rai. Yes, very good. So common mistakes of students is that they mistaken the dotted blue line as the line of no effect. So remember, what you should do is always look at the bottom line. So you can see here 2, right? So this is not the line of no effect. I told you it's only 1 or 0. So this is the solid line of no effect, okay? So that's the reason why if you mistaken the line of no effect as the other line, then your interpretation will be different, will be wrong. So if we, for example, we consider this as the solid line of no effect, then you can see here that all the studies are not significant because they are all touching the line of no effect, as you have said. But since this is not the line of no effect, this is our line of no effect, okay? And the author used this as, use odds ratio. So you can see here, 2 studies not touching the line of no effect. That means if any of the horizontal line or any of the square doesn't touch the line of no effect, that means that study is significant, okay? So this 3 study and the summary measure is significant, and this 3 study is not significant, okay? Why is that so? So let me go back to this one, okay? So as I've mentioned to you, the 2 sides could either be placebo or intervention and 2 intervention. So no single study could favor the 2 effects, okay? So we call this as effects. So this one favoring placebo, and this one favors intervention. So not a single study could be in the middle line, because if a study is in the middle in touching the line of no effect, that means it's either favoring both and not favoring anything at all. So that's impossible. So a study will always have a result, and the result or the effect will always be towards the placebo or towards the intervention. So it cannot favor both, okay? So this is that famous forest plot as I've mentioned to you. So please don't make mistake this blue line as the line of no effect. So maybe you are wondering, why are the squares placed this way? Remember, the placement of the squares depends on the odds ratio of each individual study. So you can see here 1.3, so it is here, right? And this one is 2.1, so it is here. And this one is 1.8, so it's before 2. So you can see. Okay, and this one, the blue line is the odds ratio of the summary measure. So you can see here 2.2. That's why it's here, okay? So now let's see another more complicated one. So from the simple to the slightly simple and the complicated one. So you can see here, this is a forest plot. You can see here the 3 individual study, okay? They are not arranged chronologically, okay? And they are not arranged also, it is arranged chronologically in descending order. Okay, so it's okay. 2019, 2018, 2017. And these are the individual study. So you can see here immediately that the study by Fu Shun Lien is touching the line of no effect. And the study of Dai Haiyan is also touching the line of no effect. Okay? And only the study of Tei Wei Ho is significant and it favors experimental. And the other 2 doesn't favor anything. So, because 2 studies with greater weight is touching the line of no effect, then the summary measure is also touching the line of no effect. So that means it is insignificant. Okay? So you can see here, study subgroup, the 2 sides of the forest plot. You can see here heterogeneity. We will explain that to you later on. Okay? Represented by I-square. And the overall effect, okay, the Z-score. So this is a more complicated forest plant because it is divided into 3 subgroups. So you can see here, the one about hypoglycemia, DKA, and GAI. Okay, so you can see here the different, they are presented as one, but they are presented as a subgroup. So it's very difficult to see, okay? We'll go back to this later on. So now, as I've mentioned to you, the squares represent individual studies, okay? So the squares, the size of the square, you have to remember, depends on the sample size. So you should be knowing that if a square is small, it has a smaller sample size. If a square is bigger, then it is a bigger sample size, okay? So it represents sample size of individual study. Okay, now let's go to the horizontal lines. The horizontal lines are confidence interval, okay? So you should know this by now because you can see this question come out over and over again repeatedly in previous exam question, in recall exam. Okay, so you have a square and you have a horizontal line. Okay, so there's a rule here. The bigger the square, the shorter the confidence interval for a study to be significant. Okay, so you will see in the forest plot, when the square is big, the confidence interval is short. And when the square is small, you will see a long confidence interval. So that's a fixed rule. The bigger the sample size, the bigger the study, the shorter the confidence interval. And the smaller the square, the longer the confidence interval. Let me go back. You can see here, this is a big square, and you can see a shorter confidence interval. You can see here a smaller square, okay, and a longer confidence interval, and a slightly bigger square from this, okay, and the bigger square from this, we have shorter confidence interval. And this is a very, very small square with a very, very long confidence interval. And what you will see, how will you interpret the arrow? That means it exceeds, it's infinite. It exceeds the 2.0. So that means it goes long beyond the 0.20. Okay, so that's what the arrow means. Okay, so I'm just showing you that when you have a big square, you can see here also, when you have a big square, the shorter the confidence interval is shorter. And the bigger study is the one that affects the summary measure. You will always notice that the big square is in the same, almost the same position as the diamond, because this has a bigger square, has a bigger sample size. So naturally, that means that it will affect the summary, okay? So these 2 squares affect the summary measure. So also here, you can see here, the big square is here, so the diamond is there. Now let's go to the diamond. The diamond is the summary measure or the overall effect. Okay, so you can see a diamond. You don't see horizontal line. There should be a horizontal line, but in the diamond, the horizontal line is what? Invisible. Why? Because it doesn't go outside the diamond. Okay, so the horizontal line is inside. So that means if the horizontal line is long, okay, the confidence interval will never be like this. Okay, what will happen is the diamond will adjust to the confidence interval. So the diamond will be stretched like this. It will adapt to the size of the confidence interval. So the confidence interval or the horizontal line will never go outside the edges of your diamond. So that's why there's a previous exam question asking you, what does the horizontal edges of the diamond represent? So when you say the horizontal edges of these are the vertical edges and these are the horizontal edges. So the horizontal edge of the diamond represent the confidence interval. Okay, so the shorter, I told you, the shorter confidence interval is better, okay? Better than a longer confidence interval. So a shorter confidence interval is better. So that means a taller diamond and a narrow diamond is more significant than a wide stretch diamond, okay? So this is more significant than, more reliable. What I mean is more reliable than this one, okay? So because your confidence interval here is shorter compared to the confidence interval in this stretched diamond. Okay, so now let's go to heterogeneity. Heterogeneity, you can see that in forest plot, okay? So when you say heterogeneity, from the word heterogeneous, that means it's a mix, okay? It's not homogeneous, it's the same. It came from that word, okay? So heterogeneity signifies diversity. Heterogeneity in meta-analysis means variation in study outcome. And in statistics, it is represented by I-square. Okay, so variation. So what do you mean by variation? So when you are doing a meta-analysis, the more homogeneous, the better. Okay, but there should be a little bit of heterogeneity. Okay, because no two studies are the same. Okay, maybe this is study number 1 is answering the question which is more better, clomiphene or letrozole, and the author of this study has uses data, okay, that is similar to study number 2, okay? So even though they're almost answering the same question, they're not totally the same because 2 authors made it, okay? So there should have been a difference. That is what we mean by heterogeneity. And we have, I'm discussing this, okay, because it came out in the recent exam question of 2024, okay? So heterogeneity, remember, it means diversity, variation in the study outcome or the result, and it is represented by I-square. You will see that in a forest plot, I-square, okay, represented by I-square. So this was developed by Julian Higgins, okay? So you can see here the percentage. Heterogeneity is expressed in percentages. So 0 to 40 might not be important. 30 to 60, moderate heterogeneity. 50 to 90, substantial heterogeneity. And 75 to 100, considerable heterogeneity. So remember, just to make this more simple, a heterogeneity of less than 50 is okay, okay? But if it is more than 50, that means your meta-analysis is, you have to repeat your meta-analysis. Either you have to change your parameters or you have to change your data because too much heterogeneity makes the study, not reliable. So you can see here, I'll go back to this. Okay, so you can see here, these two are comparing the low heterogeneity and high heterogeneity. So you can see here, this is a better meta-analysis than this one. Why? Because here you can see the studies are all scattered. Okay, that means it has a high heterogeneity, high variation, or high diversity. Okay, so these 3 studies favoring control, and these 2 is favoring treatment. Unlike this one, This is a better meta-analysis because these are answering the same question and they are having the same parameter, and even if they have heterogeneity, it's very low because they are almost having the same result here, and they are all favoring control. So if your study or your meta-analysis is like this, then you can conclude. You see, there's a conclusion here that all this study is favoring control because the summary measure is not touching the line of no effect. Okay, and another thing, as I've mentioned to you, the biggest square affect more the summary measure. Okay, so you see it's almost in the same line, and it is not touching the line of no effect. So even if the 4 studies are touching the line of no effect, because a bigger study is significant and it affects the overall measure, then it drags the diamond to its side. So the summary measure is also significant. You can see it's not touching here. It's not touching, okay? So this is significant. And here you can see because of high heterogeneity, the studies are all scattered. Even if you have 3 studies which are not touching the line of no effect, because the bigger study, you see, why I said this is bigger than this one. Why? Because the confidence interval of this one is shorter than this one. So because we cannot see the difference in the square, you can look at the confidence interval. You can see here. So this affects the diamond, and because this big square is insignificant, it makes the summary measure insignificant. I hope you understand everything, okay? So now let's go back to this one. You can see here, this is a bigger square, and the location of the diamond is almost the same as the bigger square, okay? So this one is favoring what? It's not written here, but this one is favoring the left side. And you can see here, the heterogeneity is 51%. So it's more than 50%. Why? Because it is all scattered. One study is favoring the right side, and the 2 studies favoring the other side, and one falls in the line of no effect. So a better heterogeneity is almost always less than 50%. Okay? So how do you deal with heterogeneity? For example, you do a meta-analysis and you wanted to study this one, effect of clomiphene and letrozole. So once you have detected variability in your result, you need to deal with it, okay? You check your data for mistakes, go back and to see if maybe you have typed something wrong. Don't do a meta-analysis if heterogeneity is too high, and when I say too high, it's more than 50%. Not every systematic review needs a meta-analysis. Explore heterogeneity. This can be done by doing subgroup. You remember the the forest plot with the 3 subgroups, okay? So that you can eliminate one parameter, DKA, and another parameter, hypoglycemia, so that it could be more or less decreasing the heterogeneity. Changing the effect measure, let's say you use risk difference and you have high heterogeneity, then you try out risk ratio, okay? You can see here, these are 2 forest plots, okay? This one, you can see the line of no effect has 0, and this one is 1. So that means you are using here ARR or RRR. And here in this one, when you change your when you change using from mean difference to risk ratio, what happened? RR, OR, or risk ratio. You can see here. Okay, what happened here? So if you have high heterogeneity in this one, okay, and here you have low heterogeneity, which is 0, okay, what happens here is that the overall effect, this one, the study is significant. This one, that study is insignificant. So the heterogeneity only is used so that your study or the meta-analysis will favor at least one side. So you can see here it's favoring here, and this one is all scattered. I'm just showing this slide for you to see that when you change the ratio that you use, it will change the I-square, okay? So now let's have a test of knowledge. This one came out from the exam, from the previous exam. What do the horizontal edges of the diamond in a forest plot represent? Write in the chat box. Very good, CCC. I have a question here, Xiaomi. Xiaomi, the vertical edges of the diamond doesn't represent anything. It becomes stretched and taller. When you stretch out the diamond, it becomes flatter. And when it is not stretched, of course, naturally, it will become taller, okay? That vertical edges will correspond, it doesn't represent anything, but it will correspond to the odds ratio of the summary measure. Okay, let me go back before we go to the, because Xiaomi, I think Xiaomi is a gadget, no? You can see here, Xiaomi, the vertical edges of the diamond is corresponding to the odds ratio. Okay, it doesn't represent anything, but it will fall on the 2.2 line. Okay, so that means it is the center of the diamond, and the center of the diamond will represent the odds ratio of the summary measure. Okay. I always explain to my student heterogeneity as a smoothie. Okay, so if you have a fruit smoothie, several fruits, then you will have high heterogeneity. But if you have one fruit, like for example, mango or strawberry smoothie, then you will have low heterogeneity if you only use two fruits. Okay? So next question. In a forest plot, the horizontal lines represent. I'm looking at the chat box now. You start typing your answers. Okay, Xiaomi, C. Okay, so it's still the confidence interval. Okay. So now let us go through these. So tell me, which is better, a bigger square or a smaller square? Write your answers in the chat box. I'm waiting. Bigger, bigger. Very good. Okay, so next, which horizontal line is better, a shorter or longer? Short, short, short. Very good, guys. Shorter. So which diamond is better, tall and narrow or short and wide? Okay, right, short. Mamtha. Okay. I think you don't understand this, Dr. Scorina. Tall and narrow is like this. Short and wide is like this. Okay? So, Mamtha and Dr. Scorina, a tall and narrow diamond is better than short and wide. You should not make mistake on this, okay? Because this came out in July 2024 exam, guys, okay? The answer is tall and narrow, okay? Please, don't mistake. Just remember, a long confidence interval will make your diamond stretch and will make your diamond short and wide. And a shorter confidence interval will make your diamond tall and narrow. Because they are confused whether, when you say wide, guys, when you say wide, this is horizontal. When you say tall, this is vertical. So everyone is confusing terms, like when they say tall and narrow, they thought it is like this one. No. When they say short, they thought it is like this. This is tall and narrow. Tall, when you say tall, we're talking of height. Okay, when you say wide, we're talking of length. Okay, horizontal length. Okay, so this one is better, bigger square, shorter horizontal lines, okay, and a tall and narrow diamond. Okay, so let's summarize. Vertical line is the line of no effect, Anything that touches the line of no effect is insignificant. Remember that, okay? So when you are analyzing the summary of overall measure or the diamond, when the diamond touches the line of no effect, that means it is significant. You have to do another meta-analysis to give you another result, okay? The squares are individual studies, okay? The bigger the square, the bigger the weight of the study because of a bigger sample size, okay? And the placement of the square represents the odds ratio or the relative risk. The diamond is the overall effect or the summary measure, okay? A taller and narrow diamond is more significant than a shorter and wider diamond. Horizontal lines represent confidence interval. Remember, the edges of the diamond represent confidence interval, okay? The shorter, the better. And heterogeneity simply means randomness, okay? So if you have any questions, you can ask now. And let me tell you, you can ask anything about Biostat or anything about our courses. And let me just show you something about our workshop. Okay, for a while. Rai, are you asking question, Rai? You want to ask question? I wanted to show you the... You have any comments regarding the session, guys? I just want to show you the Biostat catalog, but I cannot open it. Documents. Just give me a minute. So this is our... Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? No one's talking to me. I'm so sad now.
Dr. Desiree, it's not visible. Your screen is not visible.
You cannot see my screen. Okay, let me just... Okay. Now, can you see?
Yes, it's visible now. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay. So this is our course catalog for the Biostatistics workshop that will start on December 5 to 9. It's a 5-day workshop. Or let me just go through the what is included or the features of the course. So as Fatima has mentioned, you have 2 days online tutorial. Okay, it's a live session on epidemiology and biostatistics. So everything that you need to know for MRCOG 1, 2, or 3, it's okay. Okay, it's included. And there's a live session recordings and a PDF of the lecture. We have discussion forum, a separate group, study group for our course enrollee. But if you have joined our course, regular course and progressive course, you will be included in that group. Okay. And we will give you 100 questions online topic test with solution. Plus, we will give you 200 high yield biostatistics questions that came out in previous exam from 2015. Okay, plus additional questions from SBA books. And we have special webinars that will be uploaded in your platform. Okay, you have 24/7 technical support. So this is our program timetable. If you can see it, okay. So we have here the induction of the program will be on November 29, and then the session will start on December 5. Okay, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then we will culminate it by question and answer portion. If you have queries on the topic test and the question bank, okay, these are self-study, so you'll be given access on this date. Okay, and you will be provided with this course program. These are the topics that we will discuss during the course. You have here epidemiological terms, population versus sample, types of variable, everything, null versus alternative hypothesis. Okay, you have here measures of tendency, central tendency, dispersion, inferential statistics. Okay, how to choose the correct study design, understanding screening tests, how to interpret a forest plot, okay, which is this webinar. And there's another webinar before this, okay? And then we have here how to choose the correct statistical test. This is very important for part 2 students. Risk and ratio, likelihood ratios, type of errors, and graph. And then we have a question and answer portion. So if you're interested, just contact the back-end team. Thank you, Sarah, Dr. Scorina, Dr. Xiaomi. Okay. No problem, Dr. Fartuin. You can get the recording in our Facebook page. Okay. You'll have we're actually on live stream, so you can go back to our Facebook page for this webinar. So this is how we conduct our session for part 1 and for part 2. We do the lecture first, and then we do a question and answer portion incorporated in our lecture. And we make sure that the student understand every syllabus for the MRCOG exam in a very simple way. Okay? So I know people or students fear statistics, but after you attend the workshop, I assure you that any questions in statistics, you will be able to answer. You know, we have part 1 students who are very thankful. They're already in part 2, and they said that the workshop that we did for part 1, really, they get it along. Okay, they never forget it. So they still know. Okay, but they still enroll for us for brushing up the knowledge. Okay, so if you have any other questions, you can ask the back-end team. Okay, we have here the WhatsApp, Telegram. It's in the chat box. Okay, or you can contact them directly. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome, Dr. 111 and Dr. Socorina, welcome. Thank you for spending your Fridays with me. And I hope you attend more of other webinars from MedExam Expert. We'll be requesting part 2 team to do webinar on maternal medicine. Or maybe me and Dr. Helmi can do that, because, you know, maternal medicine is also a part of clinical management for part 1. Okay? So guys, thank you. We have to call it a day. Welcome, Dr. Xiaomi. Bye-bye.